built my business with open houses as a piece of my business. I also am I'm hugely involved in the community, well connected. I know a lot of people. I served on a lot of different boards and groups. I even was on the HOA, like a lot of my kids' stuff when they were young. I'm an empty nester now. I think this is a people business and we have to be connected to people, and people really need that sense of community. But open houses, I've heard people say before that open houses don't matter, that it's just looky-loos or the neighbors. Well, 1 in 4 people are going to buy or sell a house within the next year. Is anybody on this screen going to buy or sell property in the next year? Raise your hand. Okay, that's like 6 out of 8 people. So when you start looking at that, if you have 2 or 3 or 4 people that come into an open house, guaranteed those people are actively in the market. So my husband's I did this thing with him the other day when he was on a Zoom, and now he's doing it to me. I went like this while he was on a work Zoom. So now he's doing it to me and making me laugh. But one of the things, when people are walking into the open house, they are actively looking at your listing. They are checking you out. They're interviewing you. What better way for you to grab a client than at an open house? And a lot of that is, how do you set it up? Put a ton of signs out, go meet the neighbors. They call that circle prospecting. That's an old Keller Williams term, but circle prospect, invite the neighbors. You want those looky-loos. You want to be the likable realtor handling that area. Hey, I'm Karin Head. I'm your neighborhood realtor. The Joneses were having their house open on Sunday, 2 to 4. It would be an honor if you would just, stop by or bring any of the neighbors. We'd love to see you. I'll have coffee and cookies or whatever you want to serve. But it's about being friendly and getting to know people in the neighborhood, because you want to be that expert in the neighborhood. And I always had a playlist on my phone with things like I'm coming home and, different songs that say home, but I would have some that were jazz, some that were country, some that were pop, different things and different themes, so that when I had people come through, whatever kind of theme they might like in music would be playing in my open house. Okay. That's a lot. I'm a spewer. I just start spitting it all out.
That's what they call spitting gems, right? On Clubhouse, something like that.
Yeah. And we always have a little sheet of paper that's got their name. We say the seller would love it if you would give us some feedback on the property. Let us know what we could do. It captures their name, email, if they're actively looking, what they're looking for, who's their agent. But when we have people at an open house, we always let them come in and we say, hey, I'm Karin Head. Welcome to this property at 123 Main Street. It's a 4-bedroom, 3-bath home. We've got it priced at $450,000. The seller would love some feedback. So if you'll take a look around, let me know what you think. Real non-aggressive. Let them get through the house. Then you also say things like, well, have you seen some good open houses today? And they'll say yes or no or whatever. And that lets you know where they are. No, this is the only one we've been to today. Or this is the only one we're looking at. We're only interested in this one. We're looking for our mother. We're looking for our sister. We're looking for this. They will tell you if you just ask open-ended questions. What have you seen out there? What do you like? What are you looking for? Tell me what's going on. Those are the questions that we use on my team. Really open-ended. Tell me what's going on.
Exactly. I'll get to the slides then, and I would say a real simple one I use is just a really friendly, upbeat, how's your home search going? Yeah. And just be quiet, because the way they answer will tell you, like you said, if they're just looking at open houses or, well, let's get to the slides, because I'll just share, these are just, you have to use.
And do the math on that, Susanna. If there are 52 Sundays in the year, and let's say you do 50 open houses and you pick up one buyer or one seller at every single open house, just one. That's all it takes, is one. It's great if you have multiple people, but sometimes if you have too many, you can't make that one-to-one connection. So just going in there with that positive mindset and being friendly, being confident, knowing what's for sale all around that neighborhood. Have you seen this one? Oh, this one doesn't work, it's got too many stairs. Have you seen this one? Have you seen that one? There's a great one coming on market. You can say things like that. It's about the connection, and then you pick them up, you snap them up. It's like shooting fish in a barrel. Not that you'd want to shoot fish in a barrel, but that's what it would be akin to, right?
Yeah, I think, some people, they get short-sighted. Like if somebody doesn't want to write an offer that day, they feel like it was a waste of time.
Oh no.
When in actuality, to me, what I did when I was sitting there, I started looking at it as a networking event.
Yes,
You know,
exactly.
we spend a lot of time and money and energy and to do marketing to try to get in front of people. When you're at an open house, you're hosting an event
1-to-1.
and you get a chance to meet people. I had two different closings in the last couple of years where the people tracked me down because they had met me at an open house like 2 years before, remembered me like because I was nice and friendly and not sleazy commission breath, basically. I had them on my newsletter drip because we'll get into the database, but I wasn't, constantly, oh, you're ready to buy, oh, you're ready to buy, oh, you're ready to buy, right? We had warm kind of consultative conversations like Karin was talking about. And they literally told me, yeah, we remember you because you were nice. I mean, that's humbling. It doesn't,
And you have to be able to read people's personality types, right? At an open house, you'll have the CEOs who are very, let's get to it. Tell me what I need to know. Let me look around. So learn to mirror that personality type. Don't be inauthentic. Just learn to mirror who they are. If they are facts driven, you want to be able to pepper those facts. You want to know what you're talking about. I feel like so many agents just try to do everything so blind. They just go to an open house blind. They don't know how much the HOA fees are. They don't know what year the house was built. They didn't take any time to prepare. And this is an interview. We interview every single day of our life in real estate because every single morning we start out unemployed until we sell something. And so if you adopt the mindset that every day I've got to make a great impression on some new people so that I can turn their business and so that I can earn it, not just turn it, but earn it. I mean, that's what it's all about. And that's what we need to say to people. It'd be an honor to earn your business. We've stopped saying that as part of our, I hear some of these people's, their voicemail say, I'll get back to you when I can, or at my convenience. Oh, get back to me at your convenience. That's the worst thing anybody could ever put on their voicemail. So if you happen to have that on yours, delete your voicemail. Something super friendly. I will jump back and get right back in touch with you the second I can. You want to make sure people know that their time is so important to you and so valuable that they don't waste yours either. Because when they know you value their time, they won't waste your time. And that's part of the being effective and efficient in this real estate business as well.
Absolutely. So, being prepared, I agree completely. You want too many people, they say open house, they take one sign, they got some MLS flyers, and they expect the buyers to come to them. Yeah. Is that sense of entitlement can also come through in how we work with internet leads, kind of like, well, I don't know if you're qualified enough for me. Of course, we're qualifying people, but we're interviewing for a job. And I was in a recent, was talking about working your sphere and how you have to shift that gear. You have to flip the switch to get your friend. If it's your friends, family, it's the same thing that Karin's saying. You're still interviewing for a job. You're still having to earn their trust as the professional. They already know you and like you and trust you, but you have to earn your trust as the professional.
Even more with family and friends.
Yeah.
You have to switch from being Karin to their special agent Karin, right? The one that's gonna listen, you're my friend. So when we're in friend mode, this is one step. When we're in work mode, this is the different Karin. This is like all business. When we're back to friend mode, it's all fun or serious or whatever. But when it's business, it's business. And the best way to lose a client that's a family member or friend is to stay in this mode and not stay in the professional mode during the transaction.
So I've been, as you know, unpacking KV Core a lot, and there's some real powerful tools, which we're not going to go into too much detail here, but I just want to say, as you're thinking about preparing throughout the week, my suggestion is have a marketing plan for the whole week. You're doing, and this is what Carl and I are going to put together. We'll have some videos that you can post, and then you pepper in your own little Instagram lives and TikTok lives and so on. But it should be consistent promotion at least a week prior to the open house. And now there's no reason that can't be. All the social media should tie into a lead capture tool, be it either a landing page, website for the property that they register on, or squeeze pages with similar properties, all kinds of different things. And this can be something that Carl can help with. Neighborhood information, could be restaurants in the area. There's so many different value add pieces that are really easy to do in KV Core. And those things can all tie into lead capture marketing throughout the week and your clients, should be like in front of, because we're marketing not only directly to the consumer potential buyer, but to other realtors. There are listings I'm aware of in Philadelphia that I have no one interested in, but my goodness, it's on my mind because I like Larry and he's always posting about it and it looks great. So it's there in my subconscious.
Share them all the time. Share them all
Yeah.
the time. It makes you look busier. Makes you look like you're constantly doing real estate. And back to KV Core, you can do reverse prospecting for that property in your database when you build up your database. So that if the house you're going to be showing on Saturday or Sunday, whenever you're doing the open house, you can go into your database and say, who is looking for a 4-bedroom, 3-bath in this county? Let me send it out to them. That's also a great way to get new listings. You can say at the listing appointment, I have this huge database and I'm going to reverse prospect to see if I can pull anybody out that might be looking for your property. So you want to constantly have ways when you go after listing appointments to be able to talk about your database, and building a database is everything. Sorry to jump that tip, Susanna.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Never apologize. That's always up to. So, it's a mixture of there's certain staples, like Karin said already, she already covered this. I can't emphasize how important that is. I still believe in balloons, And, we do have a sign service, for instance, in Philadelphia that will set up signs, but they're very generic. So I like to have the branded sign, at least in the immediate area. And what I'll usually do is a color flyer that I'll print and I'll put in a plastic sleeve taped to the sign with some clear address, hours, and maybe the signature photo of the house. And have that at least in the front of the house and the pivotal corners. Of course, suburbs is different. You have to do a whole trail to get to the house. Every area is different, but don't underestimate the importance of signs. And there should be some good values coming up. They did a lot over Thanksgiving and Black Friday. I would imagine the sign companies will have some sales for end of the year. Some little discount, the corrugated plastic ones with the wire frames are real inexpensive, and for New Jersey and like in the suburbs around Philly, that you just sit in the grass. Like you could have like 10 of those, ready to go, and they're lightweight, easy to throw in the back of a small car even. So very, very important to have your signage out and to get it out early. The services that do it will do it the night before or that morning. No, if you can, I would, like for Andre, I would say if you can, focus in one area to get started and go preview every single home in that area. So the inventory. Then when you're sitting open houses, you already know what else is available. And I always like to have up my sleeve, like Karin said, know what's vacant, know what you could show. Like, oh, well, let me circle when we get into closing for appointments. Say your open house is 1 to 3 and you meet somebody at 2:15 and it isn't quite a fit, but you know what, why don't you go grab a cup of coffee? I'll meet you in an hour and we'll go look at 2 that I know might be a perfect fit for you. get right in the flow with them. I never want to overschedule on an open house. You need a buffer afterwards for closing as well as cleanup. Because what if they're that interested? What if you can go show them something right there and earn their trust and get a commitment to work with them? So I like to be prepared for that. I don't like to have too many printed pieces because it gives me an excuse to ask for their email. You know, you have a like neighborhood list of properties, comps,
Well,
maybe.
even if you hand them something, you can say, if you don't mind for the seller, just go ahead and fill out the survey. Tell us what you think. Give us any feedback on here. And they will give honest feedback. And that also is a great tool for your seller if you need a price correction or you need an update or to address some issues with the property. Um, and I love the thought of calling like the HOA president and saying, hey, we're going to have an open house. I'm trying to max out the price of this neighborhood. So anybody that you want it here, you know, anybody that you want to be your neighbor, let's send it out. Let everybody know, please. And be a friend to the HOA person if there is one, or to the neighbors, because they want to bring good people in their neighborhood. You want to maximize the value for their neighborhood, and you want to pick up clients all at the same time. So it's kind of a win-win if everybody's thinking about it in the right way. And so you have to make sure you know what the client's wishes are for the house, especially if it's a client that you don't know. Be very cognizant of that. Be very cognizant of safety issues. Ladies, never leave your handbag or computer or laptop or your phone sitting around, because they will disappear at public open houses. And I always like to have my computer in the MLS pulled up so that if people said, well, I don't really love this, I could say, have you seen this one on Smith Way? And I'll pull it up and show it to them. And if they love it, they'll be like, no, nobody showed me that. Oh, who's your agent? Oh, well, I talked to somebody is sending me emails, but I'm not really working with them. Perfect. I'll help you. I'll take care of you. I'll find you things. I will seek out properties that meet your needs. I will go hunt them down. That's who they want. People don't want a passive realtor, not in residential, not commercial, not luxury, not land. People want aggressive realtors. They don't want somebody mealy mouth person who's afraid to fight for them.
Yeah, you need to, feel confident that you're the captain. You have a tour for them. You have a plan for them. You have, like, get in my boat. I'm going to take you where you want to go, and have those conversations. I'm mixing everything up tonight. Sorry.
I'm so ADD. I bounce around. My brain flies all over the place all the time.
Yeah. So one of the things, and Karen's really dove into this just naturally, but all too often I meet agents and they get so focused on just kind of passing out the flyer and answering the buyer's questions or the attendees' questions without turning it into a consultative conversation. Which the best way is that open-ended question, like Karin said, how's it going? How's your home search? Those type of open-ended questions. I don't ask someone right off the bat, oh, are you working with an agent? No, I ask questions that would get them to tell a story about their home search. And then if they have been looking, oh, we're just looking, we get into that. And then I go into, well, have you had a chance to have any private tours of homes, or are you just visiting open houses when you're able to, because that will tell you.
If you start the conversation very naturally, let them take a look around, say, have a look around, let me know if you have any questions. This is what the house has. I have some paperwork if you would like to take a look at it. And if you're not interested, I'd love to get some feedback from you on this little sheet before you head out. So that makes it very natural when they come back and you're like, well, what did you think of the house? And they said, well, it doesn't really fit. It's too big. It's too small. I don't like cats. I don't like dogs. I don't like whatever. I don't like Duke University in North Carolina is a big one. I make everybody take down Duke. People hate Duke University here in North Carolina. It's the home of Duke, Carolina, and NC State. And people freaking hate Duke. It's crazy. I'm from Tennessee, so I don't care. But so but one of the things, if you'll roll into well, tell me what's going on. What are you guys looking for? What's your timeline? Where are you going? Why are you moving to Florida? I love Florida. You need to know other areas of the country. You need to be like, oh my gosh, I love Ponte Vedra. It's my favorite place. I love to go here. I love to be at, what's that favorite mall I have in New Jersey? It's like something, it's 2 words, like 30 minutes from the airport.
American Dream. American Dream?
I don't know, but it's got every major brand of couture fashion on the planet. It's got like Gucci stores and
Oh, Paramus.
mall something. What is it?
Is it Paramus?
I'll look it up. I'll tell you. But it's helpful.
Garden State. Garden State.
I'm gonna tell you, right?
Jersey has a lot of malls.
Yes, it's the mall capital.
Short Hills Mall, Short Hills.
Oh, Short Hills. Okay.
Hills, yeah. It's nice. And I don't like malls, but that is the nicest mall I've ever been in. So you need to know different areas of your city, your state, other area. Where are they relocating to? Just to be, people like a cosmopolitan agent. You know, they like somebody who travels. They like somebody who knows things. They want to know that you're not just, you know, simple-minded and just this is your whole universe, is this, you know, yourself. They want you asking questions. They want to connect with you. So you need to be able to connect with people.
One of the questions, I used to work with this developer and he insisted on doing the tours himself. And he would always ask, how does this compare with what you're ideally looking for, you know, after the end of the tour, which always brings good things out. And then depending on the property, like when I was hosting this new construction or different things, you know, whatever the house is, you want to kind of get in tune with the lifestyle of the house. Like, could you see yourself enjoying this deck? Or, you know, get them to think about, you want it to be an experience and language that helps draw them into the feeling of living there, that they're visualizing it, you know, and even if they don't like it, like, oh, well, what if they hate it? It's like, well, you know, just for fun, just out of curiosity, what would make this a good home for you? Is there anything that we could, if we had a magic wand that we could, you know, I'm kind of hokey, goofy, but, you know, just using storytelling, you know, like just stay in curiosity. Or like I said, when the people came in, this was a model home, so it wasn't so much about personal belongings. I would ask, you know, would you like a tour of the home or would you prefer to browse on your own and give me your feedback afterwards? And you might be surprised, some people wanted the tour. You know, they wanted me to walk them through. And I was able to do that. You can't always do that because sometimes for security purposes, you need to be there with them all the time, depending on the owner and the situation with the home. But and then I would sometimes give them an assignment. Well, when you come back from your tour, be sure and tell me which bathroom you like the best, or what, you know, which, you know, if there's kids, I was like, okay, tell me which room you call dibs on, or something that gets them visualizing it as their home. And they would come down the stairs with their assignment done and tell me what they, you know, whatever I asked of them, to make it fun. You want it to be a positive, memorable experience in essence, you know, and they're going to remember you. And from those conversations, you'll learn so much more, and you'll encourage them to visualize living there. And if they hate it, like when I'm touring with buyers, I say, listen, your no's are as powerful as your yeses, because I start seeing through your eyes and I'll start being able to screen things for you and do better job of matchmaking. So please, I didn't build any of the homes. You're not going to offend me. You know, if there's something you don't like, love to hear that as well.
I love how you just said that. Say that again. The no's are as powerful as the yeses, because I can pre-screen things for you, saving you time. You want to constantly be saying to them, I don't want you to waste your time. And really, in essence, you don't want to waste your time, because time is money, right? And we don't want to waste our time because time is valuable and it's got a price.
Exactly. And that's why I come from a service I want people to feel like they're at the Ritz-Carlton, but in that process, I'm qualifying them. I'm saving my time, you know.
Right, but even at the Ritz-Carlton, they move you through. They're, they're not, unless you're sitting in a lounge chair somewhere, they're moving you through.
Yeah, for instance, like with the home tour, you want to come from value. Like when somebody's at an open house and they say, oh, we've just been looking at open houses, I get right in it with them. And I was like, oh, I know open houses are so much fun. I like them too, but sometimes it can be frustrating. I was like, I go to open houses to preview properties. Sometimes there's no one there, or I couldn't find parking and they already locked up. And especially in the wintertime up here in the Northeast, I was like, oh, sometimes it's a struggle in the schedule and you're out in the cold and, so you want to then leave. That's the pain, and you can make it fun. But you say I do it a couple ways. Like I said, well, for my buyer clients, what we do is we screen everything online, things that I have previewed. And then at a time that's convenient for you, we'll go and look at your top 3 to 5 homes. And that way it protects your time and you're able to see things in a convenient way. And also homes that aren't open. Not all homes are scheduled open houses.
And we want them to drive the neighborhoods too and see the neighborhood and see the, check out whatever they want to check out, with, danger or their statistics or whatever. Put that all on the client. They need to check all that out. Crime statistics or schools, put all of that on them, but have them drive through the neighborhoods, check it out, see what they think. That way it saves time, saves everybody time. And they don't want to go to houses they don't like the neighborhood. And it's such a waste of everyone's time to make them drive the neighborhoods.
So these sheets, and you can look at it, but like in essence, like when I talk story with them, as we used to say in Hawaii, about how I work with buyer agents, I'm creating FOMO. Like, I want them to feel like they want to be my agent. Oh, I want that, right? Because they're talking about what they're going through in their home search. And honestly, it's just like when I hate going to car lots, and I will tell someone if they come pushy, I'll just say, no, I'm just looking, when I'm there with a mission, because the person's, if they're not coming from a mindset of helping, I don't, as a consumer, I tend to do that. Like I can be the test dummy because I'm the worst. I'll just say, oh, I'm just looking. So the same thing with home buyers. If they're 1 to 2 years out, they might be 4 to 6 months out. They're really they just don't want to commit to being sold. They're afraid of us as realtors because they're afraid we're going to push them and we're going to be, they don't want to have to push back. So when we put it in terms of telling stories about how we work with our buyers, how we save them time, how we zero in on what's the best fit, navigate through, matchmake with sellers. I always reference that I'm, have a database of off-market sellers, look for that perfect match, just touching on that experience. The first time I started doing that in Hawaii, I was testing out, changing my strategy. This couple were like, oh, well, we have showings set up for tomorrow. We'd really like to work with you, but we have showings scheduled for tomorrow. And I was like, oh, well, I can cancel those for you. Oh, really? You do that? Of course. But honestly, they, a lot of times people will volunteer that they're looking at homes, but they haven't signed anything. That's another little red flag. That means that they're aware of contracts, but they don't want to sign anything. And it also means that somebody didn't ask the right questions because they should have signed a consumer notice at least. And the agent they're working with should have brought that up. So, we're interviewing for the job, and, a lot of times in the storytelling, well, right here, I get into it in the slide, talk about, and in the New Jersey class, they talk about this, right? The consumer information. And I'd say, and I go ahead and say, our industry is a little strange that you can actually end up with accidental representation. Is that, you go look at a home with a realtor, they can claim you as their client, even though you didn't hire them. And really basically talking about procuring cause, which nobody talks about. I don't want to get too geeky on it, but I was like, and I always tell them again, give the power back to them. It's like, let's meet for coffee, explain about how buyer agency works. I definitely would love to interview for the job of being your buyer's agent, but if I'm not a fit, I can respect that. At the very least, you'll know the questions to ask to find the right agent for you, and you'll be prepared for success. Is that fair? And I've never had anybody say no to that. No, that's not fair. Yeah. I give them permission that they don't have to hire me. I let them know I respect their business. I want their business. And I offer to explain about buyer agency. I'm like, let's meet for coffee and we'll have 3 houses lined up. If it's a go, we'll go see them, and if not, I can respect that. I'll at least feel good that you walk away knowing something that you didn't know before we met,
Susanna, today I had a call from a Zillow buyer, a lady from West Virginia who wanted to buy a property so she could visit her son who's going to school, Wake Forest, which is right here. And she said, I've left a message for the listing agent, and so she hasn't called me back. It's been 2 hours. It's been 2 hours and the listing agent hadn't called her back. It was like 10 o'clock this morning. I wasn't really in a, friendly state of mind. Because I was like, why did this call come to me? It usually goes to my agents. So I said to her, well, why in the world are you calling a listing agent and exposing yourself to that listing agent? Because as soon as you call me as a listing agent, I'm going to look up literally everything about you in about 2 seconds. I'm going to know exactly who you are, what your net worth is as soon as you call me. And I could tell, I didn't think she was going to choose me as a realtor because she'd already told me she was really just looking at the listing agent. And I said, well, you might want to know that whether you use her or not, if you use her, she gets paid the full commission that the seller is going to pay, and you get no representation, or you essentially hire me or somebody on my team or another agent and they go fight for you against the listing agent, and the seller in North Carolina in most cases generally pays the commission. If they don't, that becomes a commission situation where the buyer pays the commission. So it's direct or indirect, one way or the other, the percentage is going to be paid. And so it was just sort of like, she was kind of curt and direct. And so I gave her a real quick lesson. Well, and then I said, well, let me see if we can get you scheduled, because this property had a renter in there. And so I sent it over to Nikki on my team, and Nikki said it's already under contract. So Nikki called back and had the conversation. And I'd already told her, if you want us to continue working forward, we're going to send over buyer agency paperwork and representation, because we want to work with you in the long haul, not just for this property, any other properties you want to buy after the fact, when your hot water heater breaks down, when you have a plumbing issue, when your roof leak, whatever it is. I said, we want to be your realtor for life, and here and up in West Virginia, wherever you want to go. And so, she hired us on the spot. Turns out she was an attorney. So she appreciated that curt nature that I dealt her right back, and the not kiss assy nature. So she and I got along, and I sent her off to Nikki, who handled the whole thing perfectly. So then she had the soft touch after Karin, kind of let her know what the facts were. But super nice lady. But she didn't understand how it worked in North Carolina. So I let her know. And I just assumed we wouldn't be working together. But I didn't want her to go work with a listing agent who wasn't going to be able to represent her except in dual agency. Now, I want to represent somebody in dual agency. I do it all the time, but I want to sell against that, right? So if it's with me, we're going to make sure we run that fine line and we do everything the right way. But if it's with somebody else, I'm going to fight against it. 2 different directions.
You just unmute, Dion. You don't have to. Don't be shy.
I think we should also add a role playing session, because Karen is just absolutely amazing. I just love the way you have these conversations.
Yeah, I'm very direct and quick
Yeah.
because I don't like
Yeah.
wasting time.
I love it. Yeah. Very good. I think Jacob and Andre will pick up quite a few great points here. Yeah, like just having the dialogue.
Well, you have to know and understand your agency paperwork. You have to understand what the facts are. You have to understand the law. And so that role play is so important. You're so right, Dion. And in fact, our agents are working on a different way to role play now, which is I talked to them today. I said, what happens in a recession? People are going to go into short sale, foreclosure. They're going to get divorced. Here's how to a divorce is how many sales? It's 3 if you do it the right way. And then those 3 lead to 9 more if you do it the right way. So we role play every possible situation that I've been through. And then, something new in real estate every single day comes up. Just constantly role play.
Yeah, I like that too, Dion. And I kind of put that in there too when we talk about conversations. Like if you're not sure what to talk about at open house or how to have those consultative conversations, or even how to talk about the neighborhood, let's network as role play so that you can feel confident walking into an open house. Because no matter whether you're brand new, when you do your homework and you study that neighborhood, you should be like the pro for that neighborhood, for those comps, for that, block, that HOA, that condo development, whatever that little subdivision is, or that part of the, whatever part, I don't know, you're in New Jersey, but, like just that area. And, including what's sold, there's no reason. And this is what can tie into your social media, because you start posting and they'll be like, I was just like put your flag in someplace and claim it, post about it, interview the restaurants, put a list together of your favorite bagels shops, the different restaurants, just constantly be in that zone, and you're going to feel super confident. And then the conversations, when you have an idea how to ask these open-ended questions, and then you're guiding the conversation. I was talking in Aaron's role play group, because he's very high D, kind of like Mike Ferry clothes, right? And I was like, I tend to be more Aikido versus like Shotokan.
I don't like all those. Like if I found the perfect house, are you ready to buy it today? No,
Yeah.
don't talk to me that way.
Nobody wants to be talked to like that. And
don't talk to me that way. I'll
I'll
tell you when I'm ready to buy. You won't tell me when I'm ready to buy, because that would be going through my head.
Exactly.
Like I'll tell you what we're gonna do. You don't tell me what we're gonna do. Well, I'll tell you how it's gonna function. You're not gonna tell me how it's gonna operate. But that's a lot of those role play things are too aggressive, and you have to soften them for the person that you're dealing with, because about half of 1% will appreciate that real pit bull aggressive nature, and I don't like it, and I'm a pit bull.
Yeah, and that's why the closing ratio actually you'll find is higher, in terms of your number of conversations and number of appointments that come from that. Because if you take a consultative approach,
yes,
you're kind of like just like walking beside them, kind of like that virtual hug, like Karin talked about. Well, here, let me show you how I can help.
I give regular hugs, just let it be known. I give regular hugs, and I tell people I love them all the time, because I do.
I know, you tell me you love me, I love it. But it's like, but you're walking with somebody, you're taking hold of their hand, you're helping them get where they want to go. And those open-ended questions help you understand where they want to go, what they need to get there. And then you help make it smoother, easier. You show them what they need to do, but that's different than feeling like you're being interrogated. And, that this person, like, I don't know if you're worth my time or not. Of course we're trying to find that out, but we don't want to make them feel that way.
And sometimes there are people that you have to fire because they're never buyers. And I feel like Nikki might fire me because We've been in the same house 16 years. I made an offer on a piece of land the other day, and the agent didn't respond quickly enough to me. And I sent him a text. I said, withdraw my offer. And he's like, what? Why'd you withdraw your offer, Karin? I said, because I didn't want to play that game with him. And I made a good, solid offer on this piece of land. And I wanted him to know I was done. So next time when I go to make an offer, he does list a lot of land. He'll know he'll either get my offer accepted or he can wait on another one. So it's like a mind game that I'm playing with this other agent who lists a lot of land, and he's a friend of mine, but I want him to know how I'm going to play this game with him. You know, it's a lot of strategy in real estate, and it's what makes it so much fun.
Yeah, and as much as we're talking about, like I get called anti-aloha, but you know, when I'm open house, I have not, there are people I haven't let in. I had this guy wanted to bring his bicycle in. I said, absolutely not. You know, and again, you have to be sensitive to the rules of the owner. Asking people to sign in, if they won't sign in. I had a lady who wouldn't. I'm saying, well, I'm sorry, that's a requirement of the seller in our brokerage. She got a little huffy and she left. I hold my own. You know, you have to be firm and protect your safety. And it's not to say that I felt threatened, but it's a matter of protocol. And
or it could be they want you to take your shoes off or wear booties.
Exactly.
Or, you know, masks. You know, I don't wear masks, never worn a mask, but you know, I've worn a couple of masks going in to talk to listings, or if they require it, I'm going to follow their rules.
Exactly.
I'm not on an airplane, you know, so I'm going to follow the rules of the seller.
Exactly. And this is, again, we'll kind of go back a little bit to in the beginning, when you're like Andre, when these are somebody else's listings, it's so important to build that relationship with the listing agent. And I've gone through a little bit more detail here. You can study it later, but I always like to, you know, find out as much as you can from the listing agent about the house. You want to promote yourself to the listing agent. This is part of networking, is part of your branding. And so that your advertising of the property throughout the week, you know, you want to let them know, it's great. I have a whole marketing plan put together. Do you mind? You know, I'd like to sit open house. This is what I will do for you and your client to get additional exposure. You put together, we'll do this, we'll work on this together, but you have a whole marketing plan. They're going to be impressed the heck out of them, you know, because you're telling the listing agent you care about the seller. You're not just there to do a selfie at my listing, you know.
And if they're a good agent, maybe you want to bring them over to eXp. You know, we want the good ones. We want the people working, doing a good job that care. And maybe they don't know how to do marketing and you do. Maybe you can help a senior agent. You know, great way to recruit a senior agent that doesn't know how to really operate in the social media space, which there are a lot of them, is to say, hey, I'll help you with all this stuff. When you come to eXp, I'll help you with all of this. I'll help you get it all set up, get it lined up, you know, be a good sponsor partner.
Yeah.
Quick question. So I can show open houses for other agents outside of eXp? Is that what
No.
Okay.
No, not New Jersey.
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't think so. Not in Pennsylvania. Probably not New Jersey either.
Okay. So. You can in North Carolina.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we missed the one. My first broker taught me have a little file box from Staples, and usually you have a roll of toilet paper, some paper towels, some Windex, you know, so it's those little things that are going to make someone feel like you want them to have a wow factor when they walk in. You want them to have a good experience. You want the house to look great. You want it to smell good. So I usually have a candle, you know, it's like, you know, you can light a candle, you have the music, you have a candle. Holidays is a great time for a candle that smells like the holidays, you know.
Just leave a good impression. That's the overall. And make sure they know who you are and you know who they are. That's how you build through open houses, is the connection.